Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Crypto Capsule Commentary, where I have the chance to answer some of the questions that you ask me every week. This week I'm actually in my office. It's Friday night, 1 a.m. It's often this is a time of day or night where I find time to make some of these videos, but it's all worth it because today I'm going to answer questions that I got last week from Hong Kong, Dubai, New York, and Montreal, Canada. Are you guys ready? Here we go. So the first question I got was from Christine from Hong Kong saying, will traditional currencies and traditional banks be able to coexist with the rise of central bank digital currencies? A lot of questions on CBDC this week. The answer is yes. I think you'll see CBDCs and the traditional currencies and the traditional financial system operate in parallel. Actually, no central bank has any intention of literally getting rid of traditional money and completely replacing it with CBDC. They're probably going to exist in parallel for some time. It's like anything else in a traditional world as well. Today, you still have post offices, although we've had fax and we have email today, but they all serve a different purpose. And also they act as a backup to a certain extent to each other. Some of the things that I'm actually looking for when it comes to when it comes to the coexistence is actually, while right now with a traditional financial system, we're able to send money to each other. When it comes to digital assets, it gives us really new opportunities in how we can transfer value. And that really opens up a whole new world of opportunities, from land titles to tokenization and so on and so forth. So definitely they'll coexist for some time and really opens up a lot of new opportunities. So great question there. Second question is from Dubai, from Gabriel from Dubai. Henri, what are your top 5 favorite CBDC initiatives and why do you love them? These are always tricky questions with choosing favorites. I'm a bit like a mother. I love all my children. But I guess to answer your question, Gabriel, because you asked it, there's a couple of projects that I actually spend a bit more time looking at that I think are quite interesting, not only from a business or policy perspective, but also from an intellectual or academic perspective as well. I would say the first one from a wholesale perspective is what's happening in Singapore with Project Ubin. Very interesting project. What I like about it, it's almost production ready. Some of the initiatives they put forward is quite forward looking. Second one, a wholesale level that I quite like, is what's been happening in Hong Kong and Thailand. Project Aitonon in Thailand, very interesting reports that came out of there in Hong Kong, and also the joint work they've been doing with Project Lion Rock Aitonon. Definitely a good read for anybody who's interested in the topic. When it comes to retail CBDC, there's quite a lot. I would say some of the ones that I find particularly interesting is what's happening in Cambodia with Project Bac Hong. I think it's a project that doesn't get as much media attention as it could, but really solving a very practical problem. Second is what is happening right now in the broader Caribbean. From the Bahamas to the Eastern Caribbean, a lot of good CBDC initiatives are very practical. And I would say probably on a bigger level, really what's happening in China right now with DCP. China is obviously, as we discussed before, way ahead of other countries on this perspective. So very interesting what's happening from that perspective, spending a lot of attention on that. And I would say maybe the one that is a bit of a wild card is not issued by a central bank, but actually from the Marshall Islands. Small country, there's no central bank, but they issued a decentralized, they're looking at issuing a decentralized digital currency, which I think is very interesting. So here you go, Gabriel. Thanks for your question. The third question is from Boris from New York City. The question is, what do you think will be the impact of future CBDCs on Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies? Good question, Boris. I would say the impact is generally quite positive. I think for a lot of people that tend to be a bit more conservative, who are not right now interacting in the digital asset space, in the Bitcoin space, CBDCs may be kind of their on-ramp that they start exploring and discovering the benefits of digital currencies. I always give the example of my mom. My mom, who lives in Canada, discovered Amazon, and suddenly she got very comfortable with online shopping. And now she's exploring she's comfortable to order from shops that are maybe less known, but that now deliver, she can order online. I think we may see the same thing with CBDCs. They may open up the eyes of many people who are used to using traditional financial ecosystems. The one thing I'm watching, I think the one area to watch there is the impact that projects like the Libra Association, or frankly even stable coins, may have, that when people start discovering some of the benefits of, for example, using stable coins to make cross-border payments where there's lower fees, it works 24/7, no FX fees, other fees, I think that may also be an on-ramp, or at least open the eyes of many people. So definitely an area to watch. Thanks, Boris, for your question. And last but not least is Hagop from Montreal, Canada. city where I was born. Henri, how will cryptocurrencies and CBDCs differ for investors? Is it a bit like equity investments versus FX foreign exchange? The short answer is yes. I mean, they're very different. Bitcoin obviously is completely decentralized. Nobody can control it. It's really offer and demand. Other digital assets like tokenized assets will be really valued depending on their underlying assets. So if it's a tokenized real estate, tokenized fund, it'll be the value of the asset they're holding. Whereas when it comes to CBDCs, let's not forget a central bank digital currency is still issued by a central bank. So it'll be part of the the monetary base of the country. So in theory, $1 of CBDC is equal to $1 paper currency. So we shouldn't see an impact from that perspective. The thing I think that we have to watch is in the event that CBDCs are issued, is how are we going to deal with this? For example, many believe now that a CBDC, for example, should have a lower interest rate than if, for example, somebody would have traditional money in a fractional banking system with a bank, for example. So that's probably one of the things to watch from a policy perspective. There's a lot of debates going on from that perspective. So guys, hope those 4 questions were useful. I know, guys, there's many other questions, but I'm going to try to answer them all as we move along. If you have any question you want me to answer on the Crypto Capsule Commentary, please feel free to ask it below, and I promise you I will get to it soon. Thank you very much, everybody, and see you soon.